You won't.
I will.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us here for the RAVORI Sports Conversation. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. So here on this Sunday night here, we want to thank all of you for joining us here. We were hacked. We apologize if some people are still actually going to the old RAVORI Sports Twitter page, which is now a ridiculous Elon Musk page. So go to RAVORI Sports 2. It's on there. Put in RAVORI Sports on Twitter. More and more we use it, the more and more it's popping up. RAVORI Sports. It's going ahead and getting squared away. So definitely to check that out. RAVORISports.com. Genesis Notary Services, if you know you from Winchester, Virginia. So definitely check that out. See, Charles Harris, we are Legal Shield. I sell legal shields. Definitely, I'm a Legal Shield representative, especially you young people out here. Do not be out here without a will for your young kids. I've seen it too often. I've seen it many, many times out here without a will for young kids. So definitely check that out. All right. And we got from the dirty. I didn't know. Yeah. I've learned that I didn't know Atlanta was dirty. I didn't know Houston and New Orleans was dirty. So explain that right off the bat, because I always thought it was just Atlanta or Georgia or whatever. But Houston and New Orleans count as the dirty South.
Oh, yeah. Them deep South states, like anything that was like a Confederate state, like Louisiana, Texas, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, the Carolinas, Virginia, Florida, that's all Arkansas, that's all the deep South. But I've always considered the dirty South more of Atlanta because I figured Atlanta was the hip-hop capital of the South. Despite the music legends they got in Houston to New Orleans and all them, from Cash Money Records to Screw Productions and Swisher House, I've always found Atlanta was kind of the dirty South of capital of the deep South with Collie Park and all them other record labels they got in the ATL. So I digress, but
chop and screw. I know all about that. My friend DJ in Atlanta, all you ever talk about was chop, chop, screw, chop, chop, all that dirty South Atlanta stuff. All right, sir. Let's get to it, man. So NFL. You're following two NFL teams. Let's start with I think probably one of the better teams in the NFL, the Houston Texans. I think they've been an offensive line away from possibly even going further. They seem to be stuck in the same spot. They're not in that upper echelon. The Patriots were able to do it, but the Texans, what's it going to take for them to get to that upper echelon? Maybe the best defense in the entire NFL.
Best defense indeed, but like offensive wise, that I figured they needed to get more protection to protect CJ Stroud because he's already got targets. They got a good running back in Woody Marks. They got Nico Collins and all them. All those Jalen's they drafted like from Iowa State and whatnot. But I did see like during like the free agency and whatnot, they did pick up a couple linemen like Braden Smith and Evan Brown, for example. But it's mainly the offense. They did pick up a couple of more like defensive guys to go on that powerful defense from like Reed Blankenship, Dominic Robinson, Jake Humble, just so forth. Even but they did put some LSU guys finally on there. We now got Foster Moreau, who did play with Derek Stingley in college. They're gonna have them back together. But he's probably gonna be probably might just be in the tight end room. He might not be the official starting tight end, but I mean he could get some reps and whatnot. But guys like maybe Reed and Logan and Jake, I could probably see out on the field starting defense. But, yeah, and with the draft coming, now I've just realized in 4 weeks until the NFL draft, I might figure they're going to go after O-line to kind of like cap off what they really need to protect CJ Stroud.
Why has this been such a problem for like now a decade? It seems like with the Texans, we're in the same spot. We can't fix the line. We can't fix the line. We can't fix the line. What's even with good coaches, etc. What's the problem where they can't fix the line?
It might be just like some of the coaching staff. Like I don't know, I don't remember who they got as their O-line coach, but I've probably talked a lot of shit in the past that said like he's got to go. I mean, because I'm not blaming this on D'Amico Ryan. He can run an offense. he's a good head coach. It's those extras on the side. And I said, if we can't get any linemen during free agency or even in the draft, we might have to find a new OC, a O-line coach or something.
Stroud, where are we? We all, when he first came in the league, he was a guy that was going to be considered a top 10 quarterback. Excellent college career at Ohio State, top 2 pick. Guy, good first year, good potential. I think he's really good at home. He just really looks bad on the road. It's weird. Like when I see him play on the road, that he's a totally different guy. So is it just the line, or what are you seeing with Stroud that's going to get him to where we think he can be as far as being a top 10 upper echelon quarterback?
When he's comfortable in the pocket, then he's dangerous. Like when the O-line's doing their job and he can read his targets and knows where like Nico Collins is going, then he's a force to be reckoned with. But I guess it deals with timing and pressure because he's always under a lot of pressure. And that's what kind of like keeps him down. But other than that, I mean, when he's comfortable in his little zone, then he's like a whole better player.
He's got, I think, maybe the most underrated, I think, wide receiver in the entire NFL, Nico Collins. I think you just said it. I think Collins is a beast of his own kind in his own right. Can they break through? I mean, certainly last year, Jacksonville gave them a run for the money in their division. But is this a year where, okay, we can say the Texans are going to be like in the AFC Championship game on the way Casa to a Super Bowl? Is that a thing or there's more work that need to be done in your opinion?
Maybe a little more work may need to be done, but when you look at the other 3 teams in this division, the it factor at one point was Jacksonville, but Jacksonville lost one of their main star players to another team I cover. So Jacksonville could be in the rearview mirror. I think a team that kind of surprised me a little bit that could be an it factor in that division could be the Indianapolis Colts. I feel like that could be a team that could put them against the wall to try and win another division or even get some sort of deep playoff run if they end up in a wild card. But other than that, I think Texans could have this division locked in. I could see them hopefully in a deep playoff run, depends where they end up in a bracket. But it's all them other AFC teams I'd have to worry about that would have to have something else to say. Like if Kansas City comes back from the dust, from what they wasn't last year, to Denver being a solid team, Chargers could be a solid team. You know, watch out for some of these teams. Maybe Buffalo, which I kind of lost my hope on Buffalo. Hell, even if they can get their cards right, even watch out for Baltimore because you want to talk about underrated and appreciation. I hear more bad things about Lamar Jackson. I'm like, dude, he's not that bad. I don't know why they criticize this guy so much, but I feel like he's kind of in the same route as CJ Stroud.
I agree with you on a lot of that. Kansas City, no, I don't see it. Indianapolis, I don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't know why people like Chris Ballard so much. I think this guy's a total weirdo. As far as a coach, as far as a GM, I don't know him personally. As far as that goes, and the Chiefs are just too old, man. I mean, Kelsey's going to be 37 next year. You lose your whole corner group. I don't see it in those two things as well. Your NFC team. One other thing before we go to Saints. What's your assessment overall of DeMeco Ryans? I think this guy could be. He may be a top 10 coach in the league right now. As far as that, what do you think of the guy that's running the ship there, DeMeco Ryans?
I love DeMeco Ryan. I mean, he was a former linebacker for Houston. He was a great defensive player. He's very passionate for Houston, and anytime you got a coach or somebody that not just want to play for the city, but want to carry the city on their back like they were born and raised from the South Side or whatnot, like they all say up in the 713, you're locked and loaded. And DeMeco Ryan loves Houston, and I can see it in his passion. I've seen him in his interviews and press conferences. He loves being there. It's just he's got to find that spark he needs to take that team where he wants to take them.
think D'Amico Ryans is very impressive. He reminds me a lot of Mike Tomlin when Mike Tomlin was younger. Just a guy, the NFL, unlike baseball, I think the biggest thing is you need to be a leader of men. Without that, you're not gonna, you can't be a smart nerd or whatever. You need to be a leader of men. You have to have 100 guys on that team, 100 guys, players, coaches respect you. And I think D'Amico Ryans would get respect anywhere he went, as far as that goes. So let's talk about the Saints a little bit here as well. You listening to you on them open mic and watching some of your content, you seem a little more sold on Tyler Shout than I am as well. I think he was decent, but I still think this. Are you sure that this is the guy that going forward is well for the Saints?
I think so. Like he's another guy. Like you want somebody that wants to be there. And when they called him up, because to be honest with you, no one saw this coming. Because go back a year ago, we all wanted Shedeur. We all thought we were going to get Shedeur Sanders in the draft, and it turned out no. They pulled the trigger and called up Tyler Shough, and I was kind of in a shock. But I'm like, okay, we'll see how this goes. And then with Spencer Rattler, we gave him a shot. Turns out it didn't go the way we want. And then we gave Tyler Shough the reins, and he just took off like a bullet. And I feel like it's too early to compare him to Drew Brees because, see, Drew actually played a whole season his rookie year 20 years ago and almost got them to the Super Bowl his first year with New Orleans. Now, if it would have been a lot different if Shough would have played a whole season, I think he'd have got Rookie of the Year. If they just started him week 1 until the end of the season, he'd have been Rookie of the Year. We probably would have maybe made the playoffs. It would have probably been a better team than how it would have turned out. But that's why I feel like with everything we've picked up in free agency, and I feel like a lot more people now want to see what the Saints can do more than LSU getting Lane Kiffin. I think more people are relying on the Saints to have a more successful and deeper run than LSU right now. But then again, I haven't really heard a lot of shit on LSU with Lane Kiffin, so I might miss something. Maybe they might have not skipped a beat, and they might be fine. But it's always a curse. Like, they're not going to let both teams be successful the very same year. One's going to hit the fan. The other one's going to go on a trail of greatness. And I feel like they're tracing that more to the Saints than LSU right now.
Yes.
Rattler. I actually kind of always liked Rattler a little bit. I liked him in college. I think he'd have been starting on most college teams. He got beat out by Caleb Williams, who turned out to be the number 1 pick in the draft. Career backup, do you think, at this point? What was your assessment of him? Like Spencer Rattler. When
I love Spencer Rattler. I thought when we picked him up, I thought he was the guy at first. And then, I felt like he just didn't have the weapons he needed yet, because I watched this documentary on Netflix, QB1 Beyond the Lights. He was on a season with him and 2 other quarterbacks. I watched his career. He's a kid from Arizona. He started his career at Oklahoma, then transferred to South Carolina. He really did good at South Carolina. Like, before Oklahoma was SEC approved, he was a Big 12 quarterback. But his time at South Carolina, I really enjoyed. And then when the Saints picked him up, I was like, finally, we got our guy while Drew Brees was gone. And because I wasn't relying on Trevor Siemian, I wasn't relying on Andy Dalton or even Derek Carr at the time. When we got Spencer Rattler, I said, this is the guy. But I guess he's just not – I'm not saying not made. Maybe he's got a lot more work to do to where he can be a starting quarterback for us again, or if he ends up going play for another team and start his own legacy.
One more thing, Saints, as well. Bit of a changing of the guard here, right? Cam Jordan not coming back, correct? Kamara, less time this year. Finally out of that like 8-year period of cap jail as well. So how fast you think the Saints can get to back to where they were? Look, that division is wide open. I'm not sure there's anybody in their division to stop them for sure. Carolina won the division 8-9 last year. I'm not sure that Tyler Shout or anybody else is worse than Bryce Young.
The NFC South was a laughing stock last season. Like, the fact that Carolina won that division for the first time in 10 years was mind blowing. because we all thought it was going to be Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay is kind of shit the fan themselves, and they've shot themselves in the foot because they've lost some key players of their own too. And I mean, we did
Mike
lose
Evans
some
is
too.
gone.
Mike Evans with the 49ers, he's gone. I still think Bryce Young is not really they got lucky last season. I don't see him really turning that team around. Atlanta's got their own problems with QBs. I mean, they had to go pick up Tua because they got rid of Kirk Cousins, and Michael Penix Jr. is out with an injury. I don't know how long he's going to be out. You had to go pick up Tua, where I feel like he gets one more concussion, he's done. So that kind of puts it for the Saints. Well, the Saints have been getting back on track. Now I feel like after they get their wide receiver in the draft, then they're going to focus on defensive guys because, yeah, we got Caden Ellis back to take Demario Davis' spot. After Demario Davis went to the Jets. Alontae Taylor's with the Titans, so I feel like they're going to probably get someone to play safety. Maybe somebody in the draft, like second, third round. We're going to need somebody on the defensive line with Cameron Jordan now as a free agent. But I feel like they're good on offense. You know, they got Travis Etienne, or now it's Etienne. We can finally get to say it right. They got David Edwards back at guard, and we picked up a tight end and Noah Fant. So I think we're good on offense, and we're damn good on special.
What is wrong? What is wrong with Chris Olave? Is it just injuries? Like whatever? Is that what's going on with him?
It's like minor injuries, like might have like a turf toe or something. Nothing severe.
They're really
Maybe
talking
like
about him like he's not even there in some circles. Or they have to, like, you know, this guy a couple years ago, I mean, was outstanding receiver not that long ago.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm not very big on Ohio State guys, but he got my approval. I enjoyed watching him in person. But we also got, you know, he's not the only one we got that can catch the ball and whatnot. You know, we still got Elijah Cooks. We still got Trey Palmer. We still got Jawan Johnson, I think, is gone now. So we ain't got him anymore, or unless he's injured.
Let's talk about your LSU there. You brought it up. We were going to get there. LSU. I think you're probably the toughest job in all of college football, and I'm not exaggerating. The expectations that you guys have as LSU is unbelievable. Biggest story, I think, in the offseason, signing Lane Kiffin to a whole lot of money. He's a mercenary, right? Yes, he goes where the money goes as well. This guy's had success for the most part, no matter where he's been. It's a tough kid. I mean, kind of like I'm thinking about also, too, what just happened in North Carolina basketball. Hubert Davis, lifelong Tar Heel, national championship, his first season. There's the door, buddy. Like, you're not keeping up with John Shire. I think it's kind of the same thing at LSU. So expectation right away, national title for the Tigers, or is that always the expectation?
Well, you gotta, you know that saying, trust the process. So, like, when we first got him, all I said at first was he's gonna get us in the playoffs his first season. But we have this thing where we don't win national championships until the title game's in New Orleans, because the only 4 we've ever won were all played in New Orleans, whether if it's in the old Tulane Stadium or the Superdome. In 2028, the national championship is in New Orleans for the first time since 2019 season. So I've gone around saying by his second year, we'll be national champs. He'll get us to the playoffs his first season, maybe at least a quarterfinal appearance, to put a statement like, we're here. I'm the best coach. I'm the number one recruiter in college football for a reason. He's building that team to where when we get to the national title in 2028, they're going to win it all. And it was no joke at all. And I know a lot of people don't trust him because, like you said, he's all about the money. And everybody's like, wait till he goes to Alabama, because that was his dream job. But they're too stupid to get rid of Kalen DeBoer, so that put us at the front door to pick up Lane Kiffin. So
Lane Kiffin goes where the money goes. He goes where the money goes. He's the
But I heard through the
struggle to think of football. Larry Brown was like that as a basketball coach. Wherever the money goes, that's where he goes.
LSU was like in $52 million in debt at one point, and they were still paying Coach Ed Ogeron, and they're now paying Brian Kelly. But I heard Alabama was in a bigger crisis than LSU is right now. That's why they didn't get rid of Kalen DeBoer. Because if they had the power to, they'd have got rid of him after the season they just had, and then would have shot for Lane Kiffin. But no, they ain't got the money to get him right now. Even if they wanted to try and get him after a couple of years, they don't have the money and the power to get him right now.
SEC not as good as a conference, I think. In my opinion, I think outside of Georgia, which Georgia
kind of a downfall. Really, I mean, I would say a downfall, but it's been bumpy since they've changed the playoff schemes again. Now they went to like a 12-man playoff and whatnot, and since it started, it kind of like how when they started the 4-man team, it started with Ohio State winning one first, and I'm thinking, maybe the SEC might bounce back, but no, it's been Big Ten's won 3 in a row now from Ohio, Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana. They say they might quote unquote be the best conference in college football right now.
Big Ten is way ahead of the SEC. Way ahead of the SEC.
Now, in the last 25 years, the SEC probably had more national championships in the last 25 years than the Big Ten. But I know that it's always changed. There's nothing wrong with change, and all good streaks are going to come to an end. And I feel like they're not the baddest or worst conference, but I don't consider them really the top dogs in football anymore until they start having a streak like this again. Yeah, I will admit the Big Ten might be on top of the college football world. I feel like the only thing the SEC is dominating right now is baseball and softball, at least, because college baseball, LSU won since this decade. Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and 2 from LSU all won national championships in baseball. Oklahoma, all them national titles in softball. So I feel like that's the only thing they're going to basically dominate as of right now. I'll give the football to Big Ten. College basketball, I've been saying the Big East because I say the Big East might be the best conference in men's basketball, but don't sleep on the Big 12. They got some teams too that haven't won a championship yet, but their Big 12 is so fun to watch. Like if you enjoy Big East basketball or even SEC, you got to check the Big 12 out as well.
Who do you like in the madness here just so far? I think in some ways Maryland isn't in it this year, so for me it's a little different. But I'm really, really kind of find myself rooting for Rick Pitino, man. I mean, what he's been able to do is this guy was left for dead. He was not even supposed to be here. They scandaled him out, all this other stuff, coached overseas, went to Iona, finds his way back to St. John's, and all he's done is turn them into a top 5, 10 program when they were – even Chris Mullin couldn't do it. So what do you kind of think of what's going on in the college basketball right now?
Pitino's one of the best of the best. I mean, look what he did at Kentucky. Look what he did at Louisville. And the fact that he's going to be playing Schreier tomorrow, he knows him really well. He has lined up with him multiple times in conference play at Louisville. He's played him in the Final Four with Kentucky at once in his career. So he knows this team really well. But the fact that High Point busted my bracket like everybody else. My bracket got busted with High Point beating Wisconsin. And then the shit really hit the fan when Florida got eliminated by Iowa. But no, I had Duke get knocked out in the Elite Eight. I didn't even have him in my Final Four, but with where we are right now and Pitino taking St. John's, and I love supporting Catholic colleges, and I would love nothing more than the St. John to upset Duke because I'm also a Carolina fan, so I hate Duke as much as Michigan and Ohio State hate each other. Hell, as much as Ravens hates the Colts.
Oh, you don't have to tell me like in Maryland basketball how much we don't like Duke still. We're not in the ACC anymore, but trust me when I tell you, I saw enough of that blue jersey in my entire life. Here's the thing: you talk about Duke. Hubert Davis gets fired. Rumors of Mark Few, all those years at Gonzaga, all the success he's had. Again, our fans or media is expectations too high because I think it's harder now to coach than it's ever been. with the transfer portal. I mean, you really have to try hard to keep your players every year.
Did they really explain why he got fired? Because it's like he beat Duke in the regular season. I feel like he should have kept his job.
Well, he got bounced in the first round, and I agree with you. I think again. I mean, he didn't. I mean, he won 70% of his games. I mean, how many wins do you want? It's like when I was talking to Evan. You know how irrational Ohio State fans are. Like, we want Ryan Day fired. Well, how many games do you want to win? He's only lost 6 games like, the whole time you've been there. A lot of them in Michigan, but I think sometimes expectations are too high for fans at times.
I don't know how he not got fired after losing 4 in a row to Michigan. I think that Natty saved his job.
Yes, I do too. But he's won all the time. He's hardly ever lost. I think he's lost like 6 games total the whole time he's been there. This year, he had less heat this year, not getting to the finals and beating Michigan.
Didn't they I think he only had 2 losses last year. He lost in the Big Ten title game to Indiana, and he lost the playoff game to Miami. I think that was his only 2 losses.
Yeah, they lost to Indiana, who's the eventual champion, and they lost to Miami, who was in the final.
Miami.
Yeah, so I don't know what you want. I mean, as far as Ryan Day goes there as well.
Look,
real quick,
I'm going to give you LSU for example. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You were talking.
I was going to give you LSU for. I'm going to give you LSU for prime example in another sport. We've been wanting Matt McMahon gone, and look what they just did now. They not only got rid of him this morning, they got their former coach back. Will Wade is back at LSU for 7 more years because they just picked up a new president a couple months back who came from McNeese, which is about 40 minutes away from me, and they just picked up their other former president and athletic director who's now going to be the head senior official of the if I'm saying it right. So they had a plan in their back pocket to get Will Wade back. They said, if we get him back, we got to get him with people that know him really well and he's so comfortable with. By the way, Heath Schroyer, Senior Deputy Director of Athletics and Executive Director of Internal Relations for the LSU system. That's his new job after he took over as Athletic Director at McNeese while Will Wade was coaching there. So they picked up McNeese's former president and athletic director to go to LSU to bring Will Wade back. Now I see why they hate LSU for a reason. They, like how they got Lane Kiffin and stuff. And then you got 2 good winning coaches in Jay Johnson and Kim Mulkey. They're trying to build something here. And I mean,
I love Kim Mulkey, man. I love Kim Mulkey. I say that all the time, man. If my daughter's played basketball, that's where I want her to play. Somebody who's actually going to be who's actually going to teach. It's funny. I'm seeing it more with women's coaches better than men's coaches often, a lot.
I haven't loved a women's basketball coach like this since Pat Summitt.
I think that's pretty high praise. If those people that don't know Pat Summitt was dominant as well. Better than Gino Ariema. I won't go that far.
Oh, that's back and forth right there.
I got to tell you. Go ahead.
UConn coach good too. I mean, they're one of the best programs right now. If you're talking girls basketball, you got UConn. They got a damn good coach. UCLA got a good one too. This goes on. I don't remember their names, but I know UConn's is a man.
I want to circle back a little bit to one thing you said real quick before we go off on the other subject. The money in college sports. You kind of mentioned how much it costs LSU. Is that a problem going on? I mean, Alabama is not a small school, guy. I mean, they're having money issues compared to some of the Midwest schools. So is that, I mean, more and more we're hearing these whispers, hey, man, these old rich people are getting tired of paying money to these kids and things like that. That's kind of important. What do you think about the money part of it?
I mean, I think it's all going to the football program. Like, that's the only thing they have been dominating in this damn decade. Not just in the last 20 years, but, like, outside of softball, it's like that's the only two sports I remember them winning titles in. Mainly football. Saban won like what 6 with Alabama. He's won 1 with LSU and he's won 6 with Alabama. And then the only other team I recall outside of football in Alabama was softball. They've won maybe like 1 or 2 national titles, and that's it. Like basketball's maybe making a little noise, but they never get past the Sweet 16. And I don't see them getting past Michigan tomorrow.
I don't either. I think Michigan is tremendous. Michigan, I think they may have the best team in the whole college basketball. Them in Arizona as well. As much as other people want to make it Duke or whatever, I think Michigan is. I've been watching them all year. Michigan's been fantastic as well.
Go back to the Fab 5 days too. Michigan always had some relevant basketball programs.
They are strong. I would still say they're a football school, but they've always, I agree, had that strong basketball program, kind of like LSU. Like I would say that's a football school, but you can't just phone it in basketball, like a Duke or North Carolina where they don't really care.
LSU,
that's a big deal.
LSU boys basketball hasn't been so relevant in 20 years. Their last 20 years ago was the last time they went to the Final Four, but that was they lost to Florida. That's what happened there. But like, I don't think. Yeah, we've had a couple years. There's been guys or two they've drafted out of LSU. Like some might remember Ben Simmons. That's about it. But I feel like we ain't had a legit elite guy to come out of LSU, in my opinion, since Shaq.
I watched that recently on YouTube, an old tape of LSU basketball going against Loyola Marymount. That was one of my favorite teams there with Paul Westhead running that offense as well. We had Chris Jackson and Stanley Roberts in there for LSU. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf would have changed his name to as well. So LSU has been SEC's had some good basketball. I think it's definitely a football conference, but they definitely had some good basketball.
I mean, your only dominant basketball programs mainly were like Kentucky and Florida. You can even throw in Vanderbilt. Like that's like your big 3 in the last like 20 years. But then you got teams that are rising from the ashes, like Arkansas trying to make noise. Hell, even Tennessee trying to make some noise there. Alabama's trying to make noise. So, I mean, they got other teams that can play, but it's like if you're talking about hardware-wise, it's mainly been Kentucky or Florida. Florida won the Natty last year, beating Houston, and now they just got knocked out from Iowa, where Kentucky didn't even get – well, I think they made it to the second round or something. I knew they made the tournament, but they barely made it. I remember it was either first or second. I think they got knocked out in the second round. I forgot who beat them. Listen, my bracket already like crashed in the first round.
Let's talk about you, Marcus, or if we call you that, Haas, or the new name is there.
Okay, so that name, I've had that name for 21 years. I've been DJing since 2005, and I needed a name. And this is how this came about. So I don't know. Like when I got my first vehicle at 15, I've watched a lot of Pimp My Rides or played Need for Speed Underground. I wanted to when I got my first vehicle, I got rims for it. I wanted to put some decals on it, tinted the windows and whatnot. I wanted to put something gangster. So on the brow of my truck, I put the Dirty South in cursive because it's like we do live in the South. And then when my DJ career took off, they were like, we need to give you a DJ name. And I couldn't think of nothing. And my mom one day was just like, why don't you call yourself Dirty South? You got it on the brow of your truck. And then it kind of tagged along. And then my cousin found a sign on the side of the road that he hand scrubbed and cleaned. And it said Dirty South on it. It looked like a banner. He gave it to me. And I put it on my table when I would DJ. So that name took off. it took off 21 years ago. People don't, if I don't get called by my first name in my hometown, people will holler at me like, what up, Dirty? Or what up, Dirty South? Hell, my nieces and nephews call me Uncle Dirty.
I wasn't expecting that, Uncle Dirty. there as well. How long have you been doing this? Is front of the camera? You've been content creation like long time, sports content creation. I think I heard you say like 5 years, like on your own doing another podcast or whatever. So a long time, right?
Well, if you want to go back, any content creating I did in the past, like you remember Vine?
A long time ago, yeah.
That's probably where it kind of. I say that's where it started. You know, people forgot about Vine. I made Vine videos that were funny. It got people's attention. But if you're talking about like in today's content creation, it's like it started in 2020 during the pandemic. I got tired of doing sports writing for wrestling for a network I used to be on. I think it was the Downtown Sports Network. I was writing for them, and then I was like, why don't we do a wrestling podcast instead? And I did podcasting for 6 years. I kind of took a year break last year, and then I've had some hiatus crisis with the show I used to be on. Then I was like, I want to start fresh. I got back with Adam and all them from Driving to the Top. They've been wanting me to come back after I left for a little while. Came back. I said, I'm going to start something fresh because I have had a show in the past with Driving to the Top that I've had two different names. I started with SAT Sports, where it stood for Saints, Astros, Tigers. That's where it started in 23. I've had that for a while, and then when I wanted to try and talk more, I wanted to kind of be more into pop culture and stuff. So then I created I ended up renaming SAT from Saints, Astros, Tigers to Somehow Always Talking Sports. That's what it stood for. And then
kind of like ECW, Eastern Championship Wrestling, to now, okay, well, Extreme Championship. Yeah, go ahead.
When I left Driving to the Top, you know, I didn't have no beef with anybody. You know, me and Adam always got along, but I felt like, even though it was my show, I thought they owned the naming right to SAT. So I was like, I'm not even going to fight or take it from them. I came up with Sportsmania Plus. I had a guy from Florida I did a show with where we talked about everything. We didn't just talk about our teams. You know, he was a New England Patriot guy, a Mets guy, a Duke guy and stuff. We talked pop culture and all that stuff. We did it for a little while until he became he had a new baby, and then he kind of disappeared. And then I took over Sportsmania Plus for a bit, and then I made a mistake getting offered to go join a new show with a new network, and it didn't last long because they just didn't like how I was and my personal reasons and issues. So I went back to Adam, and then I said, I'm gonna start fresh, and I needed a cool name or something, and then I thought of On the Go, and then I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna call it On the Go, I gotta spell it like Louisiana, Geaux.
Right.
And I said I'm gonna cover everything across I-10 from Houston to New Orleans. And I've had other teams that popped up. Like I covered too much on that show. My old tagline was, I got teams in different area codes. I was listening to Ludacris one day, and that song popped on. I said, how about instead of hoes, I'm going to call it, I got teams in different area codes.
Yeah, I know where it came from. Luda, right? I got you.
Ludacris and Nate Dogg.
What is your process like in terms of that? Because you have a wide knowledge. I think you and Dylan probably look at more stuff than like everybody. In
Which
terms
Dylan
of that,
you talking about? You talking about
Dylan.
which Dylan you talking about? Oh, on Driving to the Top, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he might do more than me, but I don't know how I still keep going. I guess just because I'm single and I live by myself, I got all the time in the world to do everything I want when I'm not at work. So I don't have to worry about a girlfriend or a kid in the life because I don't have kids. It's all the time, all the extra time I got to myself when I'm not at work. So I guess that's what keeps me to do every single team I have today.
Right. So your style, you're kind of like Adam in a sense. I can't wrap my head around you the way you do things, even you saying it. Adam has this quiet nature at times, but he's real authoritative and he's real at times and and you kind of you're kind of different. You're kind of funny at times, you're kind of serious at times, you kind of speak at times, you're kind of a lot of different things. I can see a wider audience than.
Well, I have someone I listen to that inspired me to just let it all out. Who cares if people get upset or get offended or they like it or love it? I am a huge fan of Bubba Dub.
Bubba the Love Sponge.
No, he's a comedian. He's got his own podcast, the Bubba Dub Show, where he mainly focuses on his Dallas Cowboys and his Lakers, and he might talk black pop culture and stuff. Like, he's a hilarious dude. Like, I was recommended by him, a guy I work with. He listens to Bubba Dub and watches his YouTube clips all the time. And I subscribe to his podcast because I always loved when people get pissed about the Dallas Cowboys, and when they're losing, he's gonna get on his show and talk shit. And I'm here for the comedy, like of the bad stuff he's gonna say about Jerry Jones and Dak Prescott, or even LeBron James when he talks bad about his Lakers. But other than that, he's so damn funny, and I kind of got my comical side from him, but I try not to be just like him. I don't want to like take like his main thing is trash. Like, I'm not gonna say, "Oh, my team is trash." Like, I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna say it another way. Like, my team sucks, but I'm not gonna say trash with 2 H's like he does.
You kind of have a Charles Barkley like quality too, in terms of that. In the midst of all your like personality or issues where some like really geeky people are going to take you the wrong way, but I always see like a niceness in you all the time as well. Like that would you kind of always say like what you just said, like always something that's respectful nature to things as well. Is that accurate? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I try to behave on here because I have had controversy. I've had a lot of controversy in the past with this mouth, with stuff I've said that either pissed people off or may offended people in some way. Like, oh, you talked bad about my favorite player, or like I've been banned off of networks because I talked about Tua's concussions and stuff and made a joke about it. I've got kicked off a network for that. I've caused a lot of drama shit talking LeBron James I really don't want to get to, but I've caused a lot of chaos in the podcast and streaming world. It's like
those LeBron fans are serious. I'm dead serious. That's the strongest online community I think of any athlete. You can't talk bad about LeBron. It kind of reminds me of LeBron fans. It kind of reminds me back in the day of Mike Tyson fans. Second you say anything about Mike Tyson, even if it happened, oh man, you's a hater, use of this, use of that. Like LeBron fans are exactly
I'm a Michael Jordan. I grew up in the MJ era. That was my first basketball love was MJ. I still have my pinstripe Bulls jersey. Like,
I think everybody liked Jordan. Everybody liked Jordan. I mean, the only ones you'll find that don't like Michael Jordan were like Piston fans. They had no use for him. Other than that, I don't know anyone that like, especially towards the end, that was really not a Jordan guy.
I mean, I'm just glad I was never like that with Kobe. It's like I wasn't his biggest fan, and I didn't really care for him, but I did respect his game. And the only reason I respected his game because I was a Shaq fan. I wasn't no Laker diehard, but if they were on TV, I was watching them. But I was mainly watching Shaq. But I had my love.
Why did you like Kobe? The personal stuff for the my wife always brings that up. Like, what were you doing in Colorado, buddy? Like that whole situation.
I guess the personal.
Or was it just his personality?
Maybe it was the personal stuff. Like I didn't want to believe it, but because you did not see the Kobe diehards talking like LeBron diehards are. Like I never heard a Kobe guy once say compare him to Michael Jordan. He was his like own man, and he did his own thing. Now we got LeBron fans. They think, now because he's 2 games away from playing more games than any other player. He's going to break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record. Now they're going to say, he's the best of the best. Take that, MJ. And I'm like, MJ didn't play as long as Kobe did. And I mean, as LeBron did. And I'm sure if he did, he probably would have passed Kareem's record.
Kobe Bryant was, I always use a comparison of Larry Holmes. Like, if you remember Larry Holmes, the boxer, like Muhammad Ali. Everybody loved Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was this great fighter. Everybody loved him. But Larry Holmes came along, was the next guy, and was the next best heavyweight in the world. But people were still missing the greatness of Muhammad Ali. By the time Mike Tyson comes around, now we're ready for the next guy. Where Kobe Bryant, I think, and LeBron is kind of the same thing. This is why Kobe isn't as popular, because people, when he was really at his peak, years after Michael retired, people still wanted Michael around. I think it's the same thing. But once we got to LeBron, okay, now we're ready for the next great player. That's what I think as well. Young people think that LeBron's the greatest player to ever play. I don't, but that's just. I don't think it's close either. I don't think it's particularly close.
I always love when I have to like compare decades because I've always heard like, oh, he wouldn't have lasted in the 90s with like MJ and all them. I said, hell, he wouldn't have lasted with Dr. J and all them either.
Oh, the Dr. J, I think that was like kind of what you see now when Jordan came in the league. Who's a better athlete? Was it Dr. J or is it Michael Jordan? That type deal.
Hell, could he score 100 points a game like Wilkes did? I mean, Bam was getting close, but Bam had a little more ways to go. But I mean, I don't think he could have compared to like a Dr. J or Wilkes and all them guys from the 80s.
So what's next for you? You changed your name, you're rebranding. Where do you want? I think you got a lot of talent. So where are you looking for this to go here?
Well, if I took a former wrestling podcast after 5 or 6 years of that time and grew it to what it is now, I'm sure I can do the same with this. I just need to think of more ideas, kind of change it up a bit. Like I started. I say I sold my soul to the devil when I said I used to shit talk AI, and now I've been using ChatGPT to make me some new overlays. They've been killing it. That's the only thing they ever did successful for me. Trying to make an intro video was ass. I did that personally myself with CapCut. No AI help from that. I tried to make an AI intro video, but it did not come out the way I wanted, so I said I'm doing it my way. But no, trying to grow my brand, the DJing brand, I'm throwing streaming and podcasting in it. I got a brand new wrestling podcast that launches tomorrow on all audio platforms, wherever you get your podcasts from Apple Pod, Google Pod, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. I got it airing tomorrow, Cajun Turnbuckle Podcast, where I mainly do nostalgia throwbacks on the audio side, but I'm gonna pop in every so often on live streams. You might see like Rich and I do predictions for we're going to do a prediction for WrestleMania when that comes up. We might do a topic or two or anything breaking news related, or hell, if I get lucky, if I can find some indie wrestlers or wrestlers that want to come talk and share their stories, they're going to come on and talk on this show. So trying to get back in my winning ways like I did back during the pandemic.
One other wrestling question here is well, I think the roster's too old at WWE. I mean, this year at WrestleMania, we got Cody against Randy Orton, who's 45, 44, 45, something like that. Cody's like 40. Both Reigns and CM Punk are in their 40s.
Yeah,
we're seeing it with Obi. What's wrong with the roster? Why are they would have never done this years ago. Got rid of Bret Hart when he was 40 years old because he was too old.
They don't.
Now they've really changed.
I guess they don't trust the talent that they're calling up from NXT. Like they're not ready. Except Obafemi, they're giving him a shot, but it's like they're not building new stars. I hear that from other shows a lot. Like they're not building stars. They call all these guys up from NXT, but as soon as they get to the roster, they might play with them for a while, get them as a breakout star, and after that, they kind of bump them down. And the only ones so far that they actually are shooting to the moon is like Obafemi, Javon Evans, and Trick Williams. Like Danhausen, he's not wrestling. They're just using him as a comical thing, like if it was our truth. You look at what they got in NXT now, like when they get called up, when they get called up like a Joe Hendry or a Ricky Saints, I feel like they're going to push them straight to the moon. They're not going to like crumble down or whatnot. Like
and they used to do this all the time. They put guys in the top. If you were in the top spot in NXT, the Bobby Roodes and those guys, that was kind of okay. Now you're ready for the main roster and just use them. But now it's like they almost forgot for years. Like they was NXT.
I'm gonna give you a prime example. Look at Finn Balor. Look at when they called him up. They put the world title on him, and it was a shoulder injury that ruined his career, and they didn't really strap the rocket on him again. or if they do, he like have a few short. Like they'll put him in the title picture, but they won't make him champion again.
That demon entrance was one of the coolest things I ever saw. I think, other than the Undertaker, I think that demon entrance of Finn Balor was fantastic. I don't put there's no such thing as on the same level as Undertaker entrance, but everybody else, but that Finn Balor in NXT, the demon, I think is right there.
I think the 4. Well, it has to be more than 4. But like, if I'm gonna name 3 men and 3 women that came from NXT and then just became the biggest faces on the planet. Roman Reigns was one. Seth Rollins was another one. A third. Oh shit! I just thought of one. I can't. Maybe I'll say Bray Wyatt. Drew McIntyre. There you go.
Drew McIntyre was one for sure.
I was gonna say Bray Wyatt, but Drew McIntyre's another one.
But they for a long time they put guys for sure in NXT, even if they wrestled somewhere else. They were in NXT before they brought it to the main. I think AJ was an exception, but now it's like they almost forgot. So now they're trying to go back to it with the roster.
Like women, like I'll name 3 women their careers shot to the moon after getting called from NXT: Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss. That's like 4 right there where they're even Sasha and Bayley too. Even though Bayley's kind of in a tag team role with Lyra, we know what Sasha or Mercedes is doing in AEW, being Ultimo Dragon and collecting too many title belts.
I think Bayley's kind of
got all them belts again.
Bayley's kind of now in the Rey Mysterio position. They're always going to keep her somewhat relevant. I think she's goated in that sense. Maybe she's not the top spot. I think they're always going to keep her in the top.
They had her competing in AAA about a week ago. She pulled up on their show.
Those AAA shows that they're doing are doing massive numbers. I mean, they're not even. I don't even know if they even have a deal. But the YouTube numbers, they have 1 million people watching.
I have one concern. I only have one concern with AAA. I rather read subtitles than Rey Mysterio try to translate in English in a serious voice. It is horrific. Like, I'd rather read subtitles. That's how bad it is.
Conan looks about 87 years old too, man. Like
Conan's still hanging on. And they got a good commentary team. Corey Graves, JBL, and Rey Mysterio. Good commentary team, but we don't need a pocket translator in Rey Mysterio. Just let me read subtitles. Maybe I'll learn Spanish properly.
You got Lillian actually doing the broadcast and announce there. I've seen her several times there. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. I mean, you this one exactly the way I thought it would. You move the ball around. This kind of one like it. You asked for topics at the beginning, and I knew you were just gonna just do what you do and go and teach some people about that.
I was concerned you were gonna ask me something. I'd have been blank because I've been down that path before, and it sucks.
Oh, I got it. We definitely got it. Tell the people where they can find Dirty South.
Well, just unfortunately, just like you and Ken, my personal ex got hacked a week ago, and this was a trend. And they were like, "Man, that's the third one from our group that got hacked. Like you, Ken, me. I don't know who's next." And it was upsetting because that was the only Twitter account I ever had as my personal, and I made that in 2009. And since 2009, I had over 7,000 followers. I've never made another personal one, and I really didn't want to make a personal one. So I just took On The Go's X account I made a year ago and it was actually SATs at first. So it's been 3 different names. It started as SATs, then I changed it to On The Go's, and now it's my new personal one at Dirty South ENT _.
Yeah, I got a stupid Elon Musk. I got a stupid Elon Musk hack channel there as well. All right. Let's thank Marcus. Thank you so much for joining us here on the RAVORI Sports Podcast. Marcus, thank you, sir. Thank you for continued success, man. The one of him and Dylan are real workhorses. I mean, these guys are on all the time, driving to the top. So definitely check him out, Driving to the Top Productions, and also his own channel, Dirty South.
They all running, not just me and Dylan. Jeremy's on all the time, Rich on all the time, Adam's on all the time. We workhorses now. It's not just us.
Yeah, I hear you. They picking it up. I agree with you. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us here on the RAVORI Sports Podcast. And you guys have a great rest of your day.